Hi everyone, so today we're taking a look at the VR ShineCon. This is a Google Cardboard replacement, essentially allowing you to do VR but without all of the really high cost or expense. Now obviously, as anything with VR, this is not going to be the most fully featured experience a la the Galaxy Gear, but it does give a pretty good impression of what you can kind of expect using your mobile phone for this kind of technology. So first of all, what did they send me? Well, they sent the VR ShineCon unit itself and a Bluetooth joystick. It's a one-handed joystick which has buttons that are mapped and a simple basic analog stick on the top. So let's have a look in the box. Now it must be said, you do get a manual and so on with this, but they're pretty basic, it has to be said. All they really do is take you through the most basic functions of how this works, which I'm going to show you now. Okay, so this is the actual unit itself. It has a head strap, which obviously very helpfully straps this device to your head. Pulling down the front of the unit reveals the lenses. 2 lenses, and then a separator. This will come in useful later on for actually separating out the image and making sure you don't see crosstalk effectively between the 2 halves of the screen. The front piece here, which is where the smartphone actually clips into, has a couple of plastic fronds there, for all intents and purposes, a little gripper. Pop your smartphone into the device, like so. Bearing in mind this is reasonably plasticky from that point of view. Don't use too much force. You will very easily snap these, I would say. Now it does have a magnet here. Close the device up and it doesn't easily open on its own. If we give it a good wiggle, you can hear it rattle. Ooh, bugger. When we have this on our heads, it's very difficult to actually make the device actually fall out. Obviously, if you're tipping it upside down, adding the weight there, then it is going to be a little easy to jump the catch, but not in normal operation. That's the important thing to say there. Now, on the side and top of the device are essentially your focusing mirrors, I suppose is what you could call it. These ones will pull the device further away from you, the smartphone. That will give you a bit more depth. And this one on the top changes where these 2 lenses sit. Again, this helps with essentially the crosstalk between the eyes, and what you obviously want to make sure there is that you have separation so you're not seeing each other lens laying over the top of each other, but more importantly that you can't see any of the blackness, as it were, inside this unit at the edges here and here. So by adjusting these to suit your own eyes, how far away they are on your head from each other, you will be able to get a pretty good picture out of it. Now, comfortability, or how comfortable is this device? At the end of the day, you are strapping a piece of plastic to your head. That does come with some caveats at the end of the day. This is a bulky unit. It is only held on by the straps. Now these straps are adjustable and they do work pretty well. The actual padding on them is nice and soft. Where the problem comes for this device is in the way it sits on the bridge of your nose. As you can see, there is no padding there whatsoever. You've got padding around the eyes, but you've got nothing really to help you here. After 2 or 3 minutes, I'm afraid this was really, really uncomfortable to use, to the point where it was just put to one side. The big problem with these kind of VR units is they are extraordinarily cheap, and obviously the design time is not going into making sure these are as comfortable as possible. The problem becomes exacerbated depending on the weight of the device you have strapped into the front of this unit, because as you can imagine, there's a natural pull here that this wants to go forward all the time, pressing down directly on the bridge of your nose. After, like I say, a few minutes, 5 minutes maximum, the bridge of my nose was hurting that much, I just couldn't bear it any longer. The Bluetooth controller, it works pretty well, it has to be said. It gives you a mouse pointer actually on your smartphone, and so you can navigate around. But again, I found that as a package, the VR headset and the Bluetooth controller, it didn't really set my world on fire, as it were, when it comes to actually using this as for VR. Now, on to VR. Now, personally, I don't consider the Google Cardboard way of doing things to be much in the way of virtual reality, in my opinion. It is really like a parlour trick more than anything else, and these kind of plastic units, they're not really helping anyone out at all. The true style of VR using a mobile phone handset is the Gear VR, because the actual headset and the smartphone are able to communicate with each other. The headset itself has additional gyroscopes and accelerometers in there, and it is able to provide additional tracking data, as it were, to the smartphone and thus to the app, you get a much smoother experience all round with less eye strain and less fatigue. These are a great little curiosity. They're the kind of thing I think is going to be really big this Christmas. Watch out for one under the Christmas tree from Auntie. But at the end of the day, these are really just a gimmick. I wouldn't spend any time at all using these for VR. The VR ShineCon is one of the better ones on the market, but like I say, that bridge of the nose problem is a real killer, and for me means that I cannot recommend this device, I'm afraid.